Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John and it's time for another year-end countdown for the 2019 series. The best hit songs of the year. In fact, the top 19 best hit songs of 2019 because 19 on 19. I'm a clever boy. Now listen, I see your eyes drifting down here and I can't blame you, but eyes up here guys, eyes up here. I wouldn't blame you if they were down here because there's new ARTV merch to celebrate the 10th anniversary, and if you wanted to pick some up, then there should be a merch shelf below the video or else the second link down below. But again, eyes are up here. You start to get into the nitty-gritty gray zone when you try to define what is a hit song in 2019. And in the past, I've had different rules, like it has to have charted for at least 3 weeks and everything like that, but my rule of thumb, if you'll forgive the phrase this year, is that it has to have charted on the US Billboard Hot 100 for at least 5 weeks. I think that that's honestly long enough to ride out some of the album bombs that usually stick around 2 to 3 weeks and everything like that. I mean, obviously it's getting easier in some ways because of like TikTok and other influencers to actually get on the charts, but also to hang around for a little bit longer. That is a craft in and of itself. I decided against doing any honorable mentions this year simply because even the top 19, the ones that actually made the list, I wouldn't say that I'm in love with all of these songs. I mean, I like them in some capacity, of course. I do enjoy them on many different levels, but also, I don't think I had enough to actually have an overflow playlist. It breaks my heart a little bit because some of the songs that I really did want to put on this list, I couldn't include because of my own rule. Harry Styles, for example, only got 4 weeks as of recording this video. So it's frustrating in a lot of ways, but also we have to move on before I blow a brain fuse. I'm just happy that you've decided to come on this ride with me today, so let's get right into it. Buckle up, smash that like button, subscribe for the love of music, and here is number 19.
I'm all good already, so moved on, it's scary. I'm not where you left me at all.
A new challenger approaches. She's from the UK and her second album is just around the corner. It's the new hit single Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa. Dua's first album was really solid. I know some people don't care for her voice, but I thought that she actually stood out in the world of pop where there was so much blandness, just like you're staring at a white wall and you're like, all right, when is something gonna happen? And then Dua Lipa kind of exploded onto the scene and I felt color again. She's kind of known as a breakup queen at this point because New Rules was so huge. I'm just hoping that she doesn't paint herself into a corner because Don't Start Now, it does have a familiar feeling to it. Not only because of the disco flavor and the production, it feels like something that I probably heard before, but also the lyrics talking about getting over this guy. It's fun to listen to, but again, I just have a little bit of worry because it's like I hope that you don't continue doing every single song like this, but then again, she didn't do that on album number 1, so why would she do it here?
Why can't you agree with me for once? Maybe we can be on chill tonight.
Rapper Wale bounced back with a top 25 hit, On Chill, featuring Jeremiah on the hook. Now, I've definitely gotten tired of Jeremiah's vocals. I mean, he's appeared on so many songs over the years, but at the end of the day, I do appreciate his talents, but he was popping up so much that my natural reaction is just to grab a fire extinguisher and be like, oh, put it out now! Moral of the story, I'm glad I gave this song another chance, because Wale is actually talking about something very real here. Just cutting through the bullshit in a relationship, it feels like there can be so much noise sometimes. Let's just focus on the two people here at the heart of it all. His rhymes are pretty solid throughout, I enjoy his flow, and then Jeremiah on the hook, it's smooth as fuck, dude. You're not gonna want to take your ears off of it.
Because it's over doesn't mean it's really over, and if I think it over, maybe you'll be coming over again.
Sometimes it's rather sad how the mighty fall, and the titan of pop Katy Perry was once this untouchable figure that scored so many #1 hit singles, and now she's struggling and grappling with chart success. Her first single from whatever her upcoming next album is going to be was Never Really Over, and it only charted at number 15. That's not to knock it, I mean, that's a pretty high chart position, but also for Katy, it's kind of a step down, and it did kind of tumble off the charts pretty quickly. The follow-up singles like Small Talk and Harley's in Hawaii were not anything to write home about. In fact, they were downright bad in places, but Never Really Over, it was a splash of sunshine. I enjoyed the summery production on this track. It might be a little bit too sweet for some people's tastes, but it just reminded me of a more innocent time in pop, I guess, where not everything was so deep or intellectual. It felt like it could have come out in maybe like 2009. You're never really over someone. You're trying to move on. That's the message of the song. We've heard it. It's relatable to a lot of different people, but the pop smash here works. The production is glossy. I love that driving synth and the fast vocals during the hook. It's repetitive, but it's also forceful. It sticks itself and jams itself in your head, and I don't hate it still to this day, so I guess that's a good sign.
I'm a good fella, Mason Margiela, my kick. I am Faucet Failure, my nigga, I got drip. Ashing on your bitch, this that Pokemon trainer shit.
Watch out, and here comes one of those curveballs I like to throw from time to time. At number 16, we've got Faucet Failure by rapper Ski Mask, the Slump God. This is a very cartoonish song in a lot of different ways. The flows are wacky and wild and kind of off kilter. I love some of the punchlines. We're talking about Pokemon trainers and shit on this track. It's funny. Don't take it too seriously. I made the mistake of prejudging this one and not listening for quite some time, but it hung around on the charts. In fact, it was on long enough to actually make this list and be eligible. It charted longer than 5 weeks, but also it never peaked higher than number 87, which is crazy to me. Do give it a chance. You might end up liking it. Don't just judge it based on a 30-second preview.
Things coming up, pieces, pieces. If it's a dream, don't wake me.
Hypocrisy is in the air. I can smell the comments from here. John, didn't you say you hated this when you reviewed Pray for the Wicked? You know what? To own up to it, yeah. I said I did not like this song. I find it very irritating, and to an extent, that's still extremely true. But then I listened to it while I was drunk, and I guess it connected a little bit more. Plus, look at this. Hey, look, I made it. Stack it up next to all the other mindless drivel that's come over from TikTok and God knows where else throughout the year. I will take this any day of the week, please. I still can't say I care for those dizzying synths. They just kind of give me a headache as the song kind of warps into it. It does feel like you're coming out of a hangover, and then you move into the rest of the song, the celebratory chorus. I get why people connect to it, maybe, I guess. I mean, I don't always hear it myself. I think it just boils down to, like I said, not every single song on this list I don't love, but I still like them in some way, and I guess they're better than the other stuff that was floating around. I only wish it was a little bit more inclusive. Like, not everybody has a mom. Come on. Hey, look, I made it. Shouldn't it be like, hey, look, parent or guardian, I made it. There we go. Brendan Urie, take notes. Somebody clip this and say, wow, Joe Bros, you're not only back with a new album, but you're also married and all grown up. I can't believe it. The Joe Bros returned. They are back on the music scene, and it was great to get a new single from them. Sucker is an enjoyable, smooth song that does go down like a nice little glass of lemonade on a hot summer's day. But also, just to see this slightly more mature sound, I wish it had exploded a little bit more, because I feel that there's some sexual tension going on as they describe things and how they're a sucker for everything that this girl does. But also, there could have been some more guitars. There could have been a little bit more bombast when that hook hits. But still, I enjoy the kind of atmospheric, suspenseful verses. They wind you in, and I like Joe and Nick on this track. Obviously, Kevin as well in the background. The guitars could have just been a little bit more prominent.
That's not who we are. We are not beautiful.
2019 was not exactly Ed Sheeran's A-Team year. It was more like the D-list that you get at Tuesday at the diner. However, sometimes wonderful surprises come out of the wreckage, and this time the Rubble was number 6 collaborations album, and this was a collaboration, of course, between Ed and Khalid on Beautiful People, but this is kind of a glimpse into humanity, looking about what's important to us in this day and age, what defines us, what makes you, you. We've got these designer clothes, these nice cars, but what actually at the end of the day are you left with? Do you have your personality or whatever else? This is just a very vibey song. It's loose, it has some great production, it really elevates both of the singers into the spotlight. They don't give too much time to one person or the other, and they do some nice trade-offs throughout.
Niggas been counting me out, I'm counting my bullets, I'm loading my clips, I'm writing down names, I'm making a list, I'm checking it twice and I'm getting them hit. The real one's been down.
I had my concerns when I heard Middle Child for the first time, but obviously with it clocking in at number 12 on my list, you can see that J. Cole's Middle Child grew on me. I think that the trappy percussion and the overall vibe of this song does feel like it's catered more to the mainstream rap audience. Maybe that's why he had something to say and he was like, I'll win them over by showing that I can lean into this as well, but still keep my personality. That's exactly what Middle Child is. It's kind of a commentary on his own place in rap. He's getting older. There's new generations of rappers out there. Can we all find common ground? Can we respect each other and also respect our elders, the people that came before us, from Jay-Z to Kanye to so many other people that laid down the groundwork? And obviously, I feel like Middle Child does have that commentary, but it's also easy to listen to. It's definitely not one of my favorites from J. Cole, but still, to see this on the charts and it did so well as a solo cut for him, I'm happy for the guy. Speaking of the middle child, here's mine myself. I don't know if you could hear him loudly drinking water in the background of the video. Thanks for doing that, buddy. But Oliver says hi to everyone. You want to drink the water after the video, buddy? Maybe that'd be a better time to do that. Oddly enough, Sunflower did not get a spot on my best hits of 2018 list, even though it was eligible at that point. I just had kind of ignored it for whatever reason. Post Malone and Sway Lee, it was in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. Maybe it's because I saw that movie like later than everyone else. I didn't see it until like late January in theaters. And at that point, I knew the song was in the movie. I liked it there. It's so chill, dude. This song is so chill. It's just a perfect vibe. Like, anybody could listen to this. I don't care what genre you prefer. This is just one of those songs that hits you. And it might not be your favorite song, but it's certainly understandable as to why it was such a smash hit worldwide.
Don't leave, it's my fault. Don't leave.
Cause you make my earthquake. Wow, that's absolutely the worst way that I ever could have started this. Start over, reset. Tyler, the Creator, has evolved his sound more and more over the years, and Igor is an album that I really respect. Even though it's a mood album for me, I love a lot of the songs on there, including Earthquake, which makes my list at number 10, but I also kind of have to be in a certain state of mind to listen to it and fully get it a lot of times, I feel like. Either way, I'm just stoked that Earthquake stood its ground on the charts for so long. This hung around. I thought it was gonna be an album bomb and then everything's gone, but this track just continued. It was slowly falling, sure, but it was still getting streamed enough and consumed enough to the point where more people were discovering, and this track actually caught on. So kudos to Tyler. I didn't enjoy this album as much as Scumfuck Flower Boy, but still a very great effort and a very different avenue.
You got 24 seconds and it's starting right now.
I don't know why, but I always get it twisted and forget that Ella isn't from the United States. She feels like an LA girl or something, but she's from the UK, and at number 9, we have her hit song Shot Clock. I'm so happy to see that she wasn't just like a one-time wonder with Boo'd Up, which was a great song. I think it was on my list last year. But this track, Shot Clock, is perhaps even better. When you sit down and think about it, this is kind of a genius idea because she's talking about this guy not making up his mind, and she's saying the shot clock is on. Time is about to run out. You're about to have to make a decision because in like basketball or football or something, the clock is running down. You have to make the play now. And she kind of puts the pressure on him, like she's playing defense and offense at the same time. And it's just kind of beautiful the way it all plays out.
Hills burn in California. My turn to ignore ya. Don't say I didn't warn ya.
Nope, not that Billie Eilish song. The other one. No, not that one. The other one. The one that deserved even better. And it got a great video about climate change and everything, but it wasn't too preachy or over the top. I'm talking about All the Good Girls Go to Hell by Billie Eilish at number 8. Phineas's sweet, sweet bass that he lays down on this track is immaculate. I love the production because it does feel very open, but it's also a little bit more crowded than some of her other songs. That kind of rivaling keyboard that pops up during the hook and just explodes. It's marvelous. I think that Billie really captivated people with this track, and I hope that it does continue to rise up the charts, but I'm also not extremely hopeful. I guess fingers crossed, because this is even better than Bad Guy, and I wish this had been the one that got even more success, but I also understand, I guess, why Bad Guy did.
She's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, mama.
I can see the way that you're looking at me already, and I feel like you want to beat me up in the parking lot after school. But at number 7, we have Sweet But Psycho by Ava Max. This is an artist that I actually do enjoy for as basic as she might come across at times. Her message is universal, sure, but I think her production and just the way that she stylizes herself and the way that she makes herself stand out as a vocalist actually makes me connect to her music and just have fun with it, because Sweet But Psycho is fun if I've ever seen it. Maybe you saw this coming from a mile away because you watched my video on super repetitive songs that I still love, and this song is very monotonous in the sense that it repeats itself, but also I never get tired of that stutter. It's just like I want to come back to it. It's the one song that I can actually hear at the gym if I forget my headphones, and it's like, this is fine. This actually motivates me.
Lover.
Perfectly balanced, carefully crafted, and beautifully sung. Taylor Swift's title track Lover from her recent album is just an accomplishment. I feel that she returned to country in a way. This feels like a folky track, and it charted as high as number 10. There's been remixes and everything, but obviously what I'm talking about today is the core song, the original mix. Taylor really wowed me with some of these tracks, and it's between this and The Archer as far as what my favorite from the album actually was, but this song in particular charted long enough to actually not even make it a question for me. I had to put this one because The Archer didn't hang on long enough. Either way, I'm happy to sing the praises of this tune. It's very grounded in its reality. It's focused on her lover, of course. She's singing to her now fiance, I believe, and he's obviously a big part of her life at this point. They've been through a lot together, a lot of transitions, a lot of changing tides, but through it all, Taylor sees him and they connect. So I'm happy that she's finally found love, and if it's making music like this that's so great, then more power to her. Remember that time in my old One Direction review that I called Niall Horan Neil? I also really enjoyed hearing Neil kicking off this song, handling verse duties on this song. I never lived that down. I still get comments about that to this day, and I'm so sorry. Like Neil. Yeah, I'm sure this kid from the UK is just like, oh yeah, there's Neil Horan from One Direction. Let's swerve back onto the tracks here because Niall actually kind of dropped the bomb on us with this 90s Britpop cadence that reminds you, sure, of bands like Oasis possibly, or other sounds of that decade, but it doesn't feel blatantly pandered or ripped off. It's a steady rocker. It's got a great build. I love the pre-chorus, the post-chorus, the bridge of this track. It's just fun. It's talking about a little casual hookup, the pianos that lead this track in. Everything about it fascinates me, and this is a definite shift from his first record that I felt was really mediocre, but this is a leap in the right direction. The right direction. I swear, that wasn't even intentional. The puns just happen at this point.
You take what you want from me, take what you need from me, take what you wanna go.
How are you even gonna argue on this one? You got the legend Ozzy Osbourne from Black Sabbath fame and obviously his own solo career. You got Ozzy on a track alongside Travis Scott, Post Malone, and this is all the culmination of a trappy rocker with an amazing guitar solo. I mean, one of my favorite guitar solos of the year came from a Post Malone song. Think about that. Post has incredible crossover appeal. He's obviously cool with a lot of people in the rock world. He's got his roots there as well. He was in like metalcore bands and shit. I love this. More power to Posty. Do more like this. Use your power for good and hone it into amazing tracks like Take What You Want. I mean, Ozzy's vocals on this are hypnotic, and oddly enough, Travis Scott is probably the weakest element, and I usually kind of like him.
Back to the ocean, I'll go back to the city lights.
Good golly, Miss Miley. I don't know if I've ever seen a more inconsistent year in terms of the quality of the music output of one pop artist, but Miley certainly had a year. I guess that's one way to say it. In the same year that she released Catitude, she also put out Slide Away, which was a heartfelt, touching ode to a relationship that had gone on for more than a decade, but finally came to an end. It felt desperate. It also kind of repeated itself in the way that the verses were the same, and then that impactful chorus, the bridge, move on, we're not 17 anymore. You could just feel it in your bones what Miley was saying. This is another pop song just like Niall that reminded me of the 90s in a lot of ways. I really didn't care for the intro where Mike Well Made It was kind of stuttering out some of the vocals and everything and the whole A, and I just didn't care for that swoop, but past that, everything was absolute fire, and by fire, I mean flames pouring in the form of tears. The outro was a really nice touch as well. I like how it quite literally just slides away. Miley moves into the background and we get a sweeping symphonic that just kind of plays us out. And then that's that.
How much money you got? A lot. How many problems you got? A lot. How many people done doubted you? A lot. Left you out to rap? A lot.
How many times are you gonna hear me talk about this song on one of my year-end countdowns? Yes indeed, once again, Sir Savage rears his head for the number 2 position for a lot. This is a song that is really important, in my humblest of opinions at least. It comes across as very striking, broad-reaching in the sense that it applies to a lot of people who are overlooked by society a lot of times. How many times have you done these things that maybe you weren't supposed to do or you didn't feel good about doing or that other people did to you that maybe in hindsight you just feel remorseful for? There's a lot that goes into this track. It's very thought-provoking, and to see 21 Savage growing up like this in so many different ways, I have a bright hope for his future. I mean, some of the songs on his album I Am Greater Than I Was were actually really awesome. The beat on this one is a scorcher as well, and I do enjoy J. Cole's verse. It's pretty much flawless here as he comes in, executes, does exactly what he needed to do for this track. But I also love that 21 didn't flex the fact that he was on it. No featured credited guests on the album, and that includes J. Cole. Give me reasons I should be complete? Well, I'll give you one right here at number 1. Slow Dancing in the Dark by Joji actually made it this year. It didn't make it super far. It peaked at 69, and I think that it could have gone further, but I'm just happy to see that it gained any momentum at all. I mean, honestly, the label should have sent this to radio because this is one of those hits that hits that swell and you just fall in love, man. I love this song so much. Some of you might actually remember that this made my best songs of the year list, which is separate from the best hit songs, of course, because I love it so dearly. But it did come out in 2018, but 2019 was its breakout year. And I really don't care when it broke out, if it continues next year, if it gains strides and momentum, whoever needs to share it. I don't even care if it's TikTok. I think it partially was, but give it a bigger boost. This song needs to keep going. And Joji, his artistic growth, incredible. Now that we've made it to the end of the video, I do hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my top 19 best hits of 2019. These were just my opinions and choices, so I would love to know what you think in the comment section down below. Maybe what was your top 5? What was the best hit song of the year for you? Don't forget to hit that like button on the video, and if you happen to be new in town, join the neighborhood and subscribe. You definitely don't want to miss out on all of the other year-end and decade-end content that I have coming down the pipeline very soon, so turn on those notifications. If you want to keep up with all of the year-end content, then tap this card right here. If you want to see my best hits of 2018, then tap this card, and all of my social media accounts, including my merch, don't forget, new merch out now, can be found down below. I'll see you soon for more on Beyond ARTV.